Chaque semaine, l'extra interview est l'occasion pour nous de découvrir une personnalité différemment à travers son amour pour le cinéma et la série. Et aujourd'hui, nous allons à la rencontre de la chanteuse Sharleen Spiteri à l'occasion des 25 ans de son groupe Texas. Ultra sériephile et cinéphile, elle nous parle de la première fois qu'elle a vu Le Parrain à 8 ans. This interview is trying to get to know you and your love for music through your love for cinema.
Okay.
And it's kind of obvious because the name of your band comes from cinema.
Yeah, we took our name from, well, we were inspired by the movie Paris, Texas, the Wim Wenders movie. He's such a talented man who's made so many beautiful, dark, disturbing movies. And Paris, Texas was it was a common ground that myself and Johnny, who's my songwriting partner and also the bass player in Texas, when we first met and formed the band, we both knew this movie very well, and we spoke about the movie, and we spoke about the soundtrack by Ry Cooder, and just everything about the sparseness of the movie really inspired the beginnings of the band, and we decided to go with the name Texas.
Do you remember the first time you saw a movie and felt maybe it changed something in you, or you felt that this was going to follow you for years?
The movie that I remember, I mean, there's a scene in The Godfather. I mean, I was really young when I saw it. Probably social services will be visiting my mother. But I remember seeing the Godfather the first time, and it's the scene where Sonny has sex with the bridesmaid on the back of the door, and there's the constant banging on the door, and I didn't really know what was going on, but I mean, I must have been about 8 or 10 years old at the time when I saw it, and I remember just thinking, I don't know what it is, but there's something going on there, and it's like intriguing me, and I had sort of butterflies, and you know, obviously I must have known something was going on, but I just remember kind of being really, I remember that scene being so strong in my head, and that was the first movie that really stood out at a point where I guess visuals were really sticking with me.
Here comes the summer sun. He burns my skin. I ache again.
It's the 25th anniversary of Texas, and I've tried to find the movies that came out 25 years ago to see which one would apply to you. So there was Dead Poet Society.
A great movie with Robin Williams, of course,
Yeah.
and many, many tears. You know, it's funny, especially to think that Robin Williams is no longer with us, because just such an amazing actor, such an amazing comedian, a stand-up comedian as well, that just did amazing shows. You forget that, but just the characters, all the different characters that he played, whether it was, you know, Mrs. Doubtfire, or, you know, whether it was Good Morning Vietnam, or, you know, so many, even when he was in the movie Hook, so many different movies in different periods of very serious stuff to you know, kids' movies. He's just like absolutely gigantic.
He's one of your favorites?
Yeah, Robin Williams is definitely someone that I've loved and enjoyed in movies for many, many years.
Are there any directors you've been following as well?
David Lean is a big David Lean fan. You know, Dr. Zhivago, Lawrence of Arabia, all those movies were big movies for me when I was growing up, and I loved them. You know, I love Scorsese a lot, and you know, I think, you know, still making amazing movies.
Well, The Goodfellas came out 25 years ago.
Goodfellas was a great movie.
Yeah.
You know, just the whole... The thing about Scorsese movies that I always love so much is the layers that constantly go on. I mean, even when The Wolf of Wall Street was just like... As a movie with layers, was just phenomenal. Every time you think it can't go much crazier, it can't go much higher, it was like you know, there's another part that comes on. There's another story that runs alongside the story that runs alongside another story, which is always amazing. And you know, he's just an amazing director. You know, from Main Streets right through to even making, you know, the music stuff, like when he did stuff with the Rolling Stones, or when he did stuff with George Harrison or whatever. He's always done amazing pieces of work.
Do you feel like maybe some authors or directors may have also shaped the way you write music or the way you see music?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
because at the end of the day, it's about telling a story. It's about creating your idea of something and giving it out there for other people to find their story within it. It's the exact same. You know, it's the same thing. One of them's visual, one of them's sound, and a lot of the time they go hand in hand.
She has a handle. We really do adore her. For she has a handle. Can't be such that.
You know what came out 25 years ago on television? Twin Peaks did.
Oh, I remember when Twin Peaks came out. I remember it really, really well, because it was very, very different at that point. Just the sort of stillness of it was completely new, in the way that it was being edited, and it was suddenly television became quite sort of cinematic in its look, and the bright colours and the way it was all done. It was definitely a point where things had changed, and there was kind of a new era of television being made.
You've always given me, from afar, the impression of being strong enough to be yourself all the time, not take bullshit from anyone, even if you have, you know, whatever people ask you, if you don't want to do it, you don't do it. And this is a very important thing for women to be able to see that, because it's, you know, it's inspiring and it pushes you. And I was wondering if there are any actresses or roles in movies you've seen that have given you this strength that you might be giving to, you know, girls like me?
Yeah, I mean, Anne Bancroft is someone that I've always really loved. I remember first seeing her in The Graduate. Even though her character is a very cold and quite a mean character within the movie, she's very selfish and very destructive, that was never really and she was very lonely. It wasn't the character so much as just something in the eyes of Anne Bancroft that she just wasn't taking any bullshit. And, you know, I think when somebody like Julia Roberts did Erin Brockovich, I mean, I just thought, what an amazing part it must be to play, where you're this woman that really changed a lot of people's lives. But there again, when you look at her, I mean, the story that was told of a woman that was viewed in a certain way because of the way she looked and how she acted and where she came from and her education and everything. You know, it's the true story of a woman, and it is how it is for women, and that's the way it is. I'm quite sure if any actresses were here, they would tell you that the parts for men are always better than they are for women. It's the exact same in the music industry, you know, you have to really fight for the good places. The great thing is that I'm not telling someone else's story, I'm telling my story. So, you know, it's easier for me to fight than it is for an actress to fight to find a part.
Le parrain, Twin Peaks, le lauréat, Sharleen Spiteri est la somme de toutes les images qui ont nourri son imaginaire. Des images dont est également imprégnée sa musique, qu'elle jouera sur la scène des Folies Bergères en mai prochain.